On this episode, I am giving you the 3 things that I think are destroying your run gains. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Foundation First Fitness Show with Bob Eckel, and today I am going to be going over the 3 things that I think are destroying your run progress and your running routines and really destroying your likelihood of having a solid result in your marathon races. This is episode 82. We are flying through these episodes. I think I've actually recorded 3 today. I'm just literally sitting here and just knocking them out one after the other because I just have a bunch of ideas in my mind. So let's get into it. When it comes to running, there are so many things that could reduce your performance. They can reduce your likelihood of getting any results, shaving off time, and there's so many things that you could be adding in that could be doing such good things for you. And I did speak about that a couple of episodes ago. So if you want to check that out, I'm going to link it right below here, above here. Sorry. I'm going to link it above, and you will be able to go check out that episode. I talk about 3 things that are really going to take your runs to the next level in 2020. But today I want to talk about 3 things that I think you should really pay attention to, that maybe even kind of pull out or audit in your running routine. Now, when it comes to running, a lot of individuals will look at the run schedule. What's their mileage, the amount of times they're running throughout the week, and we put a lot of emphasis on the actual workout routine itself and the scheduling of it and the mileage of it. We look at the on paper version of what's going on, and we don't really pay attention to the other details. We don't really think about how we're feeling ourselves, how we're feeling in our own bodies, how our recovery is going. We don't necessarily look at those things as much, and that's what I'm really concerned about. I would really almost like it if we were able to look at these 3 other things and really start taking control of these 3 things, because they can be easily adjusted and easily controlled. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is volume. One of the things that I think a lot of individuals that are running really try to push the envelope on is volume. Volume is essentially the amount of mileage that you're doing per week. Now, we always talk about mileage and we always talk about the amount of miles we're putting in per week and trying to gauge it, but everyone seems to be in a rush to push that mileage to make it as large as possible and get it as close to that 42 that we can. What I would really recommend, if you are doing this kind of mileage routines and looking at that, is really start paying attention to how much mileage you're putting through your body and knowing if it's actually going to make a difference. Mileage is overdoing it, and overtraining is one of the fastest ways that you could slow yourself down. The problem is when you overtrain, the recovery time to overtraining is so long. It's not a short thing. It's not like, I trained a little bit too hard this week, I've trained a little bit too hard for the last month and a half. I'm going to take a couple of days off and I'll be fine. That's not how your body responds to it. Your body's going to go through like a really severe period of shock. It's going to go down, recover. It's going to want to take it easy. Your body's going to want to shut itself down and slowly but surely start cranking up that intensity again. So it's not going to come on very, very quickly. You're not going to see that result immediately. You're not going to see that change come about immediately. So you really have to take your time and do it properly. And that really comes down to knowing how your body feels. And are you doing the right things in terms of, paying attention to how much mileage you're doing and how much you're increasing that mileage over a short period of time? 1 second, my camera went literally haywire on me. There we go. Okay, we're back to focus. Sorry about that, guys. Yes, your volume is really going to come down to making sure that you're not making a drastic jump at any point in time. A lot of us are looking at that jump and going, we're going from, 10 miles, we're going from let's say 10 kilometers a run to 15 all of a sudden. And that right there is a 50% jump in the amount of kilometers you're doing in a given run. So that's such a huge jump, and a lot of us don't look at it that way. We're like, it's just 5 kilometers more, but it's such a substantial jump. And then by the time we get to that point where we've realized that we've gone too far, we've developed overtraining problems. Overtraining problems are not just your body's inability to recover and you just worked yourself out and you've burnt yourself out. It's really just you put too much damage on your body, because running is such a repetitive exercise, and it's so detrimental to your knees, your ankles, your back, your hip, all the musculature around there, that your body needs that time to be able to kind of recover from it and not allow your body to overtrain. So the mileage thing, the volume of work that you're putting your body through, and this does count. We do count and do factor in the weight training as well. So if you are weight training, that does fall into this discussion as well. Weight training is another thing you really want to make sure you're not overdoing. If your weight training is way too high, if you're doing too much weights and you're doing too many runs, and you're not allowing your body enough time to recover between those sessions, you're not going to be getting any better. Volume, the amount of volume, when you want to increase your volume to be able to handle that, it's a slow process. And if you're taking your winters off, assume the second you've taken your winters off from running and you're not doing many runs during the winter and you're doing very occasional runs, if you're doing them at all, you're assuming you're hitting that reset button the second the spring rolls around. So if that spring rolls around and you haven't hit that reset button, you're thinking you're doing the exact same thing, you're walking straight into an injury. I will guarantee that 99 out of 100 times you will walk flat right into an injury. So reduce that volume, audit it as much as possible. If you guys are curious about volume stuff, you can message me. We can do an online consultation. I'll help you work out that volume and help you understand that as well. Secondly, recovery and rest days. It kind of ties into the first one. And it's not just it ties into the first one, but we can make it a part of the first one, but I'm going to head in a different direction. So there is the recovery time, the amount of mileage you're doing, making sure that you're resting enough in between. But I want to talk about recovery and rest days and what you're doing on those recovery and rest days. A lot of individuals on those recovery and rest days, they're not really recovery rest days. They're just really hectic days that they don't have time to actually recover. They've spent so much time training on the other days that they're making up for all the lost time, and their body's under extreme stress. So they're really stressed because they're trying to get a bunch of stuff taken care of because they have a huge schedule. They have tons of things they have to do. And secondly, they don't really spend enough time taking care of their body in terms of, are you doing the foam rolling? Are you doing the soft tissue work? Are you getting a massage? Are you getting some treatments done? Are you trying to reset your body and get yourself back in shape? These are such important things that you should be paying attention to. So here's my recommendations for it. When it is a rest and recovery day, treat it as a rest and recovery day. Make sure you have that rest and recovery day. Make sure you have that relaxing recovery day that you're able to get your body back in shape and you're making sure that you're taking care of your body. Don't use that day as a cheat day where you're like, I'm going to go eat whatever I want. I'm going to stay really late. I'm going to screw up my sleep patterns and I'm going to have a really hectic day. I'm going to run around and do all kinds of stuff and do all my errands on that one specific day. That is not a rest day. That is just a completely different stress day. You're just shifting the focus to your daily routine and not the actual workout itself. So on those recovery days, here's what I'm recommending you do. Replace all that stressful stuff with, some nice massage. Get a massage, get a treatment done. I have one of my runners who comes in here on a bi-weekly basis. I want to say bi-weekly basis to come, not twice a week, every 2 weeks, to come get a massage done so we can kind of release upper body because he is a triathlete. So upper body, lower body, gets everything kind of flushed out, helps him kind of recover and release a lot of that scar tissue that gets built up throughout those runs. Then, eating, making sure that you're eating the right foods. You want to make sure that you're eating as clean as possible those days. If you're taking a day to recover, that's a great day to really start paying attention to what you're eating. Maybe start making some good healthy decisions from morning till night. Hydrate really well morning till night. Recover. Use those days to really allow your body to recover fully. Maximize that day. You're not putting it under stress. Maximize that recovery as much as possible. If you don't have the massage therapy, foam rolling, mobility, the warm-up routines that I've always been pushing out, the stuff that's on Instagram, the warm-up and recovery routines, those things are great. So what you should be doing in your recovery, you know what, we're going to do it. I'm going to add this in today. I'm going to write this down here. Essential recovery tools. Boom, done. Instagram post. It's going to come out. It's probably out already. By the time this episode gets posted, you will see essential recovery tools, essential recovery something. I'm going to create a better title than that, but we're going to have it done so you guys know what you're looking for. And I'm going to write these tips down so you can always just refer back to that, save that clip, and you'll know exactly what to do. Number 3, the third thing I think you should really pay attention to is shoes. Shoes have been something that I've been paying a lot of attention to over the last, I want to say 2 years. No one comes into my weight room and trains barefoot. The only trains with shoes on. The only time they're coming in here and training with shoes on is if we're doing a bike because the bike has clips or it has those like teeth in it, so you wouldn't be able to use it barefoot. Or if you're doing some kind of lateral plyometrics or sprinting, I don't want you running without shoes because obviously you're going to tear your feet. But if we're doing just regular weight training, it's shoeless. We vacuum the floors here like crazy. We mop the floors. We make sure there's nothing lying on the ground. There's no heavy machinery that's done. There's no cutting. There's no material. Like everything here is really, really. I just took a quick glance in my room and I'm making sure, like, am I saying something? Did I vacuum? I did vacuum. Yeah, we did everything here. You're not going to injure your foot here. And I really try to push that a lot with my clients, is because I want them to get used to training the muscles of their feet as much as possible. And the shoes that they're using are usually not allowing that to happen. They're usually blocking that response from the ground up to the feet. So what I usually recommend for shoes is 3 things. Flat bottoms, and I've spoken about this before, and I know I've had people that have come on here. Nick St. Louis, episode 51, part of the Foot Collective, really smart guy with the foot mechanics, hip. If you guys want to check out their stuff, I'm going to link it here at the bottom right now. You could go check out their website. You want the shoe to be flat. You don't want any rise in the heel. You want it to be completely flat. Assume you're running barefoot. That's what you want to mimic. We were able to run years ago. We didn't need shoes. We just used something that would be under the foot to stop us from destroying our feet. But your shoe should be able to move. Your foot should be able to move freely and should feel as if like terrain is constantly adjusting. That's going to allow the muscles to stay nice and strong. Number 2, you want that shoe to be moldable. And I think I kind of just jumped the gun and spoke about it a bit, but you want it to be able to be super flexible. You want to be able to bend and move and stretch and do everything you want your shoe to basically be able to roll up into a ball and open up again. The reason why you want that shoe to kind of open up and be able to move around a lot is because it's allowing your body to it's allowing your foot to really adjust and move freely the way it would as if you were barefoot. That's what you're trying to mimic. And going back to the first one, when I talk about flat, I don't mean just the heel. I mean flat heel and really reduced insole. You want little to no insole. You want little to no arch support. Your body's arch is naturally there. If you have a collapsing arch is a weakness issue. A collapsing arch is not a structural issue. If you have a flat foot, that's a structural issue. That's something that's an anomaly. There very few people have them. Out of the hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of athletes I've trained and runners I've trained, I've seen, maybe 1%. And those numbers could be completely skewed based on my perception, but literally feels like 1%. I'm trying to run through my mind to see if I actually know anybody that is completely flat foot. And honestly, I can't think of one. Collapsing arches I've seen, and because you have a collapsing arch, it's just a weak foot. Train your foot, train the foot strength, and the problem will go away dramatically, almost instantaneously. I promise. Every single time I tell someone to just train their arch, build their arch strength, they noticed that all the arch problems that they were having, the problems that were coming from their foot, were really just going away. So that's one thing you should pay attention to. And number 3, the third thing, is the toe box. Toe box meaning where your toe fits in. I noticed that a lot of major running brands like Asics that make the kind of bulkier, big, thick sole shoes, the toes are kind of pointed, so they kind of look like this, or a little bit more closed-toed. If you're wearing Asics right now, or if you have Asics, you can run and grab them, take a look at them, and you'll notice that the toe box, basically where your toes sit in, is very, very narrow in comparison to how wide your toes actually are. You want your toe box to be relatively wide so that you're able to have that space for your toes to splay out and go and get some lateral distribution. You want to be able to shift that nice. You want to be able to have a nice wide base of support. One of the things that a lot of us are forgetting is that if our foot gets narrower and narrower and tighter, we're actually losing support. Your support is based on your base of support, meaning the size. What is your size like? What is the base of support under you? If you have 2 feet that are separated, you've created a big box base of support. If you have a narrow foot, well, then you only have a small base of support. So the toes splaying out is actually increasing your base support, increasing your stability. So when you hit the ground, you're a lot less likely to have that knee cave in because you've got that nice, flat, straight knee going. You've got that nice structural support under you. So all those things about your shoes are really drastically important for knee performance. So for knee health. So if you struggle with knee pain, hip pain, back pain, I know a lot of individuals, they talk about, oh, you got to do this 2 or 3 stretches, or it's your shoes that are not good, and then they just go and get the same type of shoes, the high heel and the big arch support and the big thick soles, and they're like, oh, you're smacking your heel. Before you even do that, the first thing I want you to do is decrease the amount of technology that's in your shoe. Make your shoe really, really simple, almost like a slipper. From there, start training your foot and start training your hip, and that will shift that away. That'll shift the focus to something else, and you're actually going to be doing it the right way. This is something I've done for years. I've been doing it for the last 2-3 years with everyone that I've seen. Everyone's been going barefoot. Knee problems have been going away. Hip problems, back problems, everything's been disappearing. So give that stuff a shot. Really audit your shoes. And if you have any questions on things that you're kind of curious about, that you're not sure about when it comes to running, definitely leave me a little comment in the comment section. Shoot me a message. And if you really are interested in that stuff, guys, check out my Instagram stuff. Check out my YouTube stuff. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, hit subscribe. If you haven't seen my Instagram stuff, Instagram feed, check that out. We are going to actually be rolling out some more structured content, but that's going to be specifically on our webpage. So once that stuff comes out, I will let you guys know. There's going to be structured workouts, routines, warm-up routines, all these different things that I think that a lot of people could benefit from. We're going to have it on there. Is it going to be specific for anybody? No, it's going to be very generalized in nature for the average runner, for the average athlete, for the average Joe's just going into work out on a regular basis. Someone is just trying to get healthy for the general population. Yes, it'll be great for you guys. You guys can look at it. It won't be specialized for you, so you might need something a little bit more, but it's going to be something that maybe you can gauge. And if you need some help, you can definitely come in and let us know. On that note, have yourselves a great day. This is the end of episode 82. I'm so pumped. I'm actually flying through this. I've got 83 coming out. 83, we got a Q&A. I got a bunch of good questions for our next Q&A. If you guys want to jump in on that and get your questions answered, shoot me a message. Let me know, and I'll get those in our next Q&A section, our next Q&A episode. And until that next time, and until our Q&A session, have a great day and keep building that foundation. Take care, guys.